All right, it's time for another episode of Biz Audio. Everyone, welcome back. My name is Max. It is Thursday, the 13th of October. This is your radio news update and your radio headlines for the week. And it's starting off some big news. I'd just like to pay a quick tribute to John Laws, the radio legend. He had an amazing career, and he will be missed greatly. What a legend. So many people looked up to that man, and he did some amazing things. Rest in peace, John. We will miss you very greatly. And of course, today, GfK Survey 3 came out for the Gold Coast. Hot Tomato was still on top. Some other news, Nova Entertainment has renewed their partnership with Podshape. And we got some other news over in the AMCA, the Australian Media Communications Authority, have slapped Carl and Jackie on the wrist with a little bit of a ban. They will not be able to air any content. They have a little probation period of 5 years, I believe it is. And it'll be interesting to see how that changes their content over. I know the most of the content that was vulgar and that was put up for this little sort of slap on the wrist for Carl and Jackie, that was done more like last year and the year before, but they haven't done any of that in recent times. But it'll be interesting to see if that does affect any of their future content plans. And of course, we'll find out soon. And of course, we had the upfronts as well recently. So we'll see how that affects any of the other shows, because I know Saucy Secrets, that show does get into a bit of a pickle and tries to be a bit like Carl and Jackie, I would say so. Over at 4BC, they have I'm pretty sure it's Jason Matthews, his name is. He's taking the morning slot, and Dean Miller and Sophie Formarker are taking the breakfast show. I was talking to a good friend of mine, and who is a radio enthusiast and knows a bit about radio, has been on radio before. He doesn't know how well the new show will last. Of course, 4BC is talkback, and you don't really need chemistry. In my opinion, you don't need chemistry on talkback. And if you look at it, now I'm not being sexist or anything, but you look at it, and it's more all of the talkback radio shows in the breakfast, especially, are more male than this is the first one for 4BC, male and female. It'll be interesting to see how they do run it with the formatting. And of course, you do have Sophie Formarker, which has done really well in her drive slots. That'll be interesting to see how she pairs up with Dean Miller, who has done some stuff on Triple M before. And I'm curious to see how they'll go into the future. 4BC in their last survey with Peter Fegan on breakfast have done quite bad. I think they slipped down to 3.5 or 3 market share in Brisbane. Of course, Brisbane's smaller market share than smaller state or smaller population listening to radio than Sydney. So a 3 in Brisbane isn't as good as a 3 in Sydney. And I've been looking some more at 2SM and the Super Radio Network. They've been hiring a fair bit of jobs. They hired their CEO, Reece Hollerand. He came over. He was the CEO of Southern Cross Stereo beforehand. He came along, and they've yet to announce their chief financial officer. It's good to see that they're finally getting some good management in with some good experience. Not saying that George Corrales and Despina Priala, they're very well experienced, but it's good to see that they have some big guns who have done some big stuff at SCA. And it'll be interesting to see how that pans out over the next year when they update their content strategy. There's not much else to say other than, the 4BC. Big news. Ducko from the Jess and Ducko regional hit show from SCA. Ducko's leaving at the end of the year, so that's quite upsetting. But they've done quite well in the ratings, I believe. In some of the smaller ratings, they've done quite well. And Ducko, he's moving on. I know he said it wasn't a tough decision. I know that's one thing that they do always repeat. It's never an easy decision. Never an easy decision to leave radio. But I'm sure something will be on the horizon for them. This is all of your radio news updates. Thank you for listening to Biz Audio. I'll catch you on the next episode. And it's Friday tomorrow, so happy Friday, everyone. Have a good weekend and stay safe out there.